one very important point about Revelations is that Revelations, just like Genesis, speaks in symbolism. And a lot of Revelations can jump back in the past. It could be talking about the present or the future. So these are things that we have to understand when we go through Revelations, the whole book. We're going to go to Revelations, the 11th chapter, and start there. To me, this is a basic Revelations chapter because it's easily to be understood as we go through the precepts. So read that, Revelations 11, and let's start from verse 1.
Okay.
Right, you'll do 5 verses, and then the next brother can do 5 verses. That way everybody can write down whatever they need to write down. All right, so read that.
Revelation chapter 11, verse 1.
Yeah.
And there was given me a reed like unto a rock.
Right. Remember, these are visions. These visions meant something, though. There were symbolic meanings to things that were either going to happen. Majority of them at this time were going to happen in the future or had happened in the past. Go ahead.
Like unto a rock.
Right. So the reed is a measuring stick. So this is what he's saying. He said there was given to him a measuring stick. So I would use this measuring stick, but it looked like a rod also. Okay, go ahead.
And the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God.
Right. So now the reason why I went and read out a little more is to show you who's the temple of the Most High.
We are.
Right. So now we understand what the reed is. The reed is a measuring stick that Israel will be measured by. And what is that? What is the measuring stick that you will be measured by? The Bible. So that reed is the Bible / the law. Okay? And you would be measured by the Bible. When the Most High comes back, we're going to be measured by the law. Y'all get this? And you can write down with that verse, the reed equals the Bible / the law. Go to Revelations 20 and 12. You can add, so we can figure out what the reed is, what this measuring stick was going to be. Revelations 20, verse 12.
Revelations chapter 20, verse 12. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High.
Right.
And the books were open.
And the what?
And the books were open.
What are those books? The Bible. But also what? I went over a class in this way back. What is going to be open? He said books. So you got the law, and then what's the other book?
The books of the names of those that are sealed.
Okay. Then what else you got? What?
Every idle word that you say.
Everything you did has been recorded. So the books were going to be open. Just like when you go to court, they lay the books out in front of you. They lay the law of the Most High. It's going to be laid out before us because that's what we're going to be measured by. But then you got what you've done in your life. Right? Like you said, every idle word that you said, right? All your actions are written down by the angels. Y'all get that? That's why he said, watch when you say things. Watch when you murmur. Right? Because the Most High knows and hears all these things. So but the reed part, the reed is talking about the Bible and the law because that's what we're going to be measured by. So read Revelation 20 and 12 again.
And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High.
Right.
And the books were open.
Go ahead.
And another book was open. Which was the book of life.
Right. So that book of life is His word. The laws, statutes, and commandments. Y'all got that? Was that it?
Law.
Go ahead.
And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works.
Right. You see that? So what are you going to be measured by? You're going to be measured by the book of life, which is the laws, the statutes, commandments, your righteousness, faith. The Most High is going to judge you according to what He said. Y'all get this?
Come.
Go from there, go to Matthew 12, verse 56. So we're just going and showing that according to Revelations, when he said measure the temple, we're going to, obviously y'all know, certain of y'all know scriptures that we're the temple of the Most High, but for the new people, we're going to get those scriptures. So the temple is Israel. The measuring, what we're going to be measured by is the laws. The Most High is reminding us that there's going to be judgment. You don't just get into the kingdom. You're going to be measured by the law, statutes, commandments, and by your actions. Okay? So read that, Matthew 12:56.
Matthew chapter.
36, sorry. Matthew 12 and 36.
Matthew chapter 12, verse 36.
Yeah.
But I say unto you, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
Right. So just like you said, it's everything that has been said, according to Revelations, everything that has been done, you're going to be judged. But according to what? The reed, which is also the rod. Why is the law known as a rod? Because that's what he beat you with. You know what I mean? When you disobeyed, he whooped you with the things in the law that he said, if you do the good, you're going to get life. But if not, you're going to get these punishments. And that was by the laws, statutes, commandments, and the covenant that he promised Israel. What's up, Ike?
I was just going to ask you, is that also the time that you're going to spend in hell? That measurement of wickedness you've been doing? Like, is he going to...
No, not in this point right here. It's not going in that deep. It just says, imagine you measuring the temple, right? With the reed, with the measuring stick. So it's not going into it that deep yet. Not in this Revelation. Go to Isaiah 65, verse 7. Isaiah 65, verse 7.
Isaiah chapter 65, verse 7. Your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, saith the Most High, which have burned incense upon the mountains and blasphemed me upon the hills. Therefore I will measure their former work into their bosom.
You see that? So he will measure their former works into their bosom. So Revelations 20 and 12, Matthew 12:36, Isaiah is just showing that the Bible is going to be the measurement. The books that are open is going to be the measurement. The laws, statutes, commandments. We're going to be judged out of them. Y'all get that?
Come.
That is the measurement. Okay. Y'all got that?
God.
All right, let's go to back to Revelations and read it from the top.
Come.
Okay. And Revelation chapter 11, verse 1.
Go ahead.
And there was given me a reed like unto a rod.
Right.
And the
So we know what the reed or the rod was. Right. It was the measuring stick that was going to measure what? Read on.
And the angel stood, saying, rise and measure the temple of God.
Right.
And the altar.
Right.
And them that worship therein.
Right. So who was the temple of the Most High? Who were these people? Right? Go there. Go to 1 Corinthians 3, verse 16 and 17. Read that. 1 Corinthians 3, verse 16 and 17.
1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God?
Right.
And that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you?
Right.
If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy.
Right. So just, once again, for the sake of the breakdown in every verse, you got to be able to, the only way we're going to get the understanding is going back in the precepts and being able to find out, well, what does the Bible refer to as the temple of the Most High? It wasn't the nations. It was right? The law, statutes, commandments. And now much more by our faith and believing in the laws and applying the commandments, right? So that's Israel. We're the temple of the Most High, right? Except ye be reprobate. Go ahead.
Con. If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy.
Right, because you can't be used. If your body is destroyed and your mind is clouded with drugs, dope, what else you want to say you can defile your body with? Any and everything.
Any sin?
Any sin that it's not given over to the Most High, then your body, your mind, your spirit is going to be destroyed. You see that? So there was supposed to be nothing that was put in your temple that was going to put you before or put that before the Most High. Y'all get that, right? Okay, go ahead.
Come. For the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are.
So when it says in Revelations, measure the temple, the altar, that's us. Go to 1 Corinthians 6, verse 19 and 20.
Come. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost,
right,
which is in you,
right, which
ye have of God, and ye are not your own?
Right, you are not your own. That's another problem. A lot of brothers and sisters think, like the white man, I'm my own. You know what I mean? I do what I want. I have a choice. Yeah, you do have a choice. But do you really? I mean, is there really a choice? When it comes to your soul, is there really a choice? Is there really a choosing? For us, no. There ain't no choice.
Wow.
But for the wicked, yeah, I got a choice. So the Most High is showing you that you give your body over to that, your mind, your spirit to those things. That's what you're going to be. It tells you that in Romans 8. When you yield your members to servants to be, right? That's what you're going to be a servant of. Go ahead.
Come. For ye are bought. For ye are bought with a price.
That's another thing brothers and sisters don't want to bear witness to. That you're bought with a price. That Yahushua died for you on the cross. We got to look at it like this, man. This life right now isn't our life to live like the white man. We got to look at it like that. It ain't our life. Not this time. In the kingdom to come, you're going to be able to live. This ain't living. Hurt, pain, drugs, dope, lies, politicians, fake regimes, destructive death. Like, we're not really living. So we got to understand this life we're supposed to be living for Yahushua. When we get the kingdom, you're going to be able to do all those things you really want to do, right?
God.
Go somewhere and sleep for a month if you want to, right?
God.
Have servants and don't work for a year if you don't want to. I know that's the first thing that we probably want to do when we get in the kingdom. Like, I ain't gonna work for a whole year, right?
God.
Just sit back.
That might be too long.
I know, right? But that's how it's been. That's how it's been instilled in you through America. It's like the whip is always on our back. How they created it too. Even though we got our own business, you got to pay your bills, so you got to get to work. That's how the white man created it, right? To keep you a slave. So, but without jumping off, man, this ain't our life to live. Let's jump back to Revelations. Jump back to Revelations.
God, Revelations, chapter 11, verse 2.
No, verse 1.
God, verse 1. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod.
So what is the reed?
A measuring stick.
The reed is a measuring stick. And what are we measured by? Go ahead.
The Bible.
The Bible or the what?
The law.
The laws of the Most High, right?
Come.
Because when you say Bible, we're really saying Torah, right?
Come.
The law, statutes, commandments of the Most High.
Come.
So that's what measures. That's what's going to measure us. And read on.
Come. And the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God.
Right.
And the altar, and them that worship therein.
Which was who? Israel. Right? Go to Romans 9. So just to show furthermore that the altar, them that worship therein, was Israelites. See, I know y'all thinking like, well, we know this. This, like the beginning of it, you're like, yeah, but as you get down in the chapter, Revelations this 11th chapter is establishing something. You see, and this is how you know the Bible, man, was meant for Israel. It was meant for you. This is how you know also, in the kingdom to come, the Gentiles are not going to be part of what we have. You understand that? They're not going to be a part of that. They're going to be there, but what we have in our duty and our service is not going to be them. They got a whole nother job prepared for them. Y'all get that?
Come on.
Okay, so y'all going to learn that as we go through the chapter. Romans 9. Read Romans 9 and 3.
Romans chapter 9 and verse 3.
Go ahead.
For I could wish that myself were cursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh,
Go ahead.
who are Israelites,
Right.
to whom pertaineth the adoption.
See, you know why I love this chapter? Because it's very, very clear on who was adopted back to the Most High. You got Christianity say, oh, that's the Gentiles. They were adopted in. He's telling you the adoption pertains to the Israelites. The nations weren't adopted into this contract. Go ahead.
And the glory.
And the what?
And the glory.
The glory of the powers, the rulers, the things we're going to run in the kingdom to come. That glory, those promises is to Israelites. Go ahead.
And the covenants.
And the contracts. We all know that. Was given to who? Israel. Go ahead.
And the giving of the law.
And the what?
Giving of the law.
That's why we're going to be measured by that. Go ahead.
And the service of the Most High.
And the what?
Service of the Most High.
So who was only set up to serve at the altar of the Most High?
Israel.
Israelites. Y'all know what that means? That all these Joel Osteens, all these Hamite preachers, bro, they weren't meant to drop this word. And that's why they ain't doing it right. They weren't meant. Now, let me say this. There's Edomites online, people online teaching the truth. You Hebrew Israelite, you so-called Negroes, like nations online. But it's still not their job. It don't matter. They got to do that. Why? Because Israelites ain't stepping the hell up. You understand?
God.
That our nation don't understand that we're a nation of kings and priests. So to serve at the altar is who? Israelites. So we were going to be measured by the laws because we were supposed to keep these laws, statutes, commandments. You want to say something, Mark?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
And the promises.
And the what?
Promises.
Right, and the promises. Everything, I went over a class on that. That the promises can't be undone. That look at all the promises and things that Yahushua, that from Genesis all the way to Revelation, that was promises to Israel. Now you can't just say, oh yeah, that was old. It ain't even happened yet. So all those things were promises to the people of the altar, which is you, so-called Negroes, Mexicans, Haitians, Dominicans, Israelites, Puerto Ricans, Native Americans, North American Indians, Seminole Indians. All right, jump back to Revelations. Go ahead.
God. Revelation chapter 11.
Verse 2.
Verse 2.
Uh-huh.
But the court which is without the temple.
So the court which is without the temple, everybody that's outside of the temple, go ahead.
leave out.
Why? Go ahead.
And measure it not.
Read.
For it is given unto the Gentiles.
Yeah, because the law, statutes, commandments were for Israel. He said in Psalms 147, 19, 20, I have not dealt so with any nation. Y'all get that? So the court which is without is talking about the nations. Go to Isaiah 35 and 8. The court, that which is without the temple, is talking about the nations.
25 and 8.
Right.
Con. Isaiah chapter
35 and 8. I'm sorry.
Con.
Uh-huh.
Isaiah chapter 35, verse 28.
Right, and if y'all got any questions on it, I'm trying to go as slow as possible for y'all online. Obviously, this is going to be recorded, but if y'all can stop me and slow me down or whatever.
Is it 35 and 8?
35 and 8? Yeah.
Con.
Go ahead.
And an highway shall be there,
Uh-huh.
and a way,
Right.
and it shall be called the way of holiness.
Right. This is talking about for Israel. When you go into the chapter, I'm not going to read the whole chapter. You can read it. This is talking about the prophecy in the future. What is going to happen to the Holy Land? What is going to happen to the holy people? There's going to be a highway that is created for Israel. Our kingdom, these nations ain't going to be a part of that. And that's why he said the court, that which is without the temple, they don't have this. They don't have the law, the statutes, commandments, the job that we are going to have, that we have now. A lot of us haven't woken up to that. Go ahead.
The unclean shall not pass over it.
Right. So think about it. Are the nations going to be in our Jerusalem? See, y'all got to understand, we're going to run the world, and y'all heard me say this a few times, the scripture said, we're going to run the earth. But in Jerusalem, they're not going to get to go into Jerusalem. They get to stop at the gates and bring us things. You understand? Where it says our gates will be open continually, and those gates are probably going to be like, you know how the kingdom is right here, right? And then our gates is all the way across the street.
Nah, further.
Yeah, further, like a mile down. You get to come in those gates and meet in and drop the gifts, and then we can disperse them how we want to. But the nations ain't going to get to sit there with us. That's why Revelations is telling you that. The court which is without the temple, leave that out. Because the scriptures is telling us here in Isaiah that ain't going to be in none of our kingdom. There's only going to be holiness and righteousness in Jerusalem. There's not going to be no sin in Jerusalem. Is there still going to be sin on the earth? Yeah, because the nations are going to be trying to bring that madness still. But you think in Jerusalem is going to be that? No. Because everybody, it says, we shall all know the Most High. Y'all get this?
Come.
Read, go ahead, finish that.
But it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, those fools shall not err therein.
You see that?
There it is.
Those nations ain't going to be there. Okay, let's go from there. Go to Isaiah 52 and 1. And what I'm showing in the scriptures is that the court, that which is without the temple, is talking about the Gentiles. The Gentiles are not going to be in any part in our kingdom. They're not going to be in Jerusalem. And I'm specifying because our kingdom is really going to be the earth. But where we live at is going to be Jerusalem. And we're going to run the earth from Jerusalem and go out and get these nations in order. And they're going to have to live right in the world. Y'all get that?
Come.
Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 52, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Awake, awake. Put on thy strength, O Zion.
Uh-huh.
Put on thy beautiful garments.
Right.
O Jerusalem.
Right.
The holy city. For henceforth thou shalt no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean.
That ain't now. That ain't now, because look, everybody over there in Jerusalem, they got gay clubs, faggots, transvestites, switch hitters. Y'all know the line. Bull dykes, backside thieves, right? That's all in the Holy Land. Yeah, they all love their cigarettes. Oh, they love their cigarettes. Stinky. They love their cigarettes, right? There's nothing but in Jerusalem right now uncircumcised people. But in the future, he said no unclean thing, no uncircumcised is going to enter. You understand that?
Come.
So when it says your servants and handmaids, they're not going to be in Jerusalem. They're going to be in your outhouse. You got Jerusalem, you got the kingdom where Yahweh Shai is at. It says he shall brighten us. We're not going to have need of the sun or the moon in Jerusalem. When you go out into the earth, everywhere else, right? You probably got in Spain, I'm just using, it might not be that name, but you got in Spain, you might have your house of concubines in Spain. But you got to go out. You can't bring these heathens in Jerusalem. You understand that?
Come.
Huh? Yeah, you can't bring them in Jerusalem. You got to go out. You're not going to bring that around Yahweh Shai. Then you got to go out and deal with all that. You might have mansions throughout the world, right? Homes that you rule throughout the kingdom, right? Because the earth is going to be Yahweh Shai's under, and then we're going to be under Yahweh Shai, right?
Come.
So the earth is going to be ours. Y'all get this?
Come.
Yeah.
This is the New Jerusalem.
This is the New Jerusalem. This is the one that says it's going to be paved with gold. And that's a whole other chapter, but I'm just showing you, according to Revelations 11, the court, that which is without, it links with the other scriptures to show us why there ain't going to be no unclean thing in there. There ain't going to be none part of us. Leave that away. Put that away from us. Y'all get that? Okay. Go to Joel 3 verse 17. Joel 3 verse 17.
Joel chapter 3 verse 17.
Right. Wait till they get it. So if y'all are paying attention to this chapter, I want y'all to listen to the nuances, how the Bible links in with each other. I know you're going over the chapter, but listen to the points that the Bible is bringing out, and then you will see the Bible in its context speaks the same way. Like, we can go over these same points without Revelations 11, right? We can show you that Israel's the chosen, that he separated us from all the nations on the face of the earth, right? He's going to put us above all the nations on the face of the earth. He's going to judge you according to the law. And that's what you're seeing, how even in these prophecies that was given to John the Revelator, it coincides with everything that was prophesied before in Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel. There was nothing that changed. He's reaffirming these things to us. Y'all get this? Okay, go ahead and read that.
Joel chapter 3 verse 17. So shall you know that I am the Lord your power, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore.
You see this? No strangers are going to pass through there. So, no, you're not going to be sitting up there with Edomites, Moabites, Ammonites. We're going to be singing Kumbaya in the house of the Lord. It ain't going to work like that. These heathens ain't going to be in there. Why? You ain't going to get to slip in no demonic worship. You ain't going to slip in. There ain't going to be no cats falling weak to no women. You know what I mean? Like Solomon did. You ain't going to be bringing your concubines and then get your spirit broke by them. It It ain't gonna work like that. They ain't gonna come in and hide their idols in the kingdom of God. Hell nah. Ain't gonna be none of that, man. Those are all the things that defiled and destroyed our nation. Letting those slip in. Go ahead.
Verse 18.
Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountain shall drop down new wine.
Right. That's it on that. I mean, it goes, y'all can always read that. We're just trying to get these precepts that link up with certain statements that John the Revelator in this vision is making. Or the angel is making to John the Revelator. Okay? So jump back to 11 and 2.
God. Revelation chapter 11 verse 2.
But
the court which is without the temple.
So that's talking about the Gentiles. The court that which is without the temple is speaking of the nations. Go ahead.
Leave out.
Go ahead.
And measure it not.
Read.
For it is given unto the Gentiles.
Go ahead.
And the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months.
And isn't that a kawinky dink? Who treaded down Israel? The Gentiles. You see that? They treaded down our holy land. They defiled and polluted our sanctuary. Go to show that this prophecy has happened. All right, and then we're gonna bring it up to where he gives you a little time period in here. Read that part one more time.
God, Revelation chapter 11 verse 2.
Go ahead.
But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not.
Right.
For it is given unto the Gentiles.
Right.
And the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months.
Right. So, and this is what happened. Okay, so you can see how now John the Revelator is after Christ. Christ died at this time already. You've already gotten Jerusalem taken over by Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Medes, all these things, right? Mm-hmm. But then you also got more destruction coming forth, right? The destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, right? Okay, so go ahead and go to Isaiah 1 and 7, just to show that this prophecy, and all you're seeing is the prophecies were going to chase us, like he said in Deuteronomy. Yeah, it happened in Babylon, Persia, the Medes, the Greeks, the Romans, but it's going to happen in the future. Then after the Greeks and Romans, what happened? We're going to find out. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 7. Your country is desolate.
Your what?
Your country is desolate.
Read.
Your cities are burned with fire.
Read.
Your land, strangers devour.
It says strangers devour. So the prophecy was that these Gentiles were going to overthrow us. Right? Why? Because the Most High judged us according to the law, and we disobeyed the laws. So what happened? He said he sent the Gentiles to do what? Trodden us down. Con? Now we know after captivity. See, that's why you got to look at the Bible in its entirety and understand it, because you got to see that they were in a captivity when he was getting this. Mm-hmm. Right? But then after that, they would be in another destruction.
Right.
You see, Jerusalem would be, the homeland was so-called be built a little bit. I said a little bit because it was never back to its original stature. And then they would come in again and destroy us again. Right? Then when we fell after 70 AD and scattered to all the kingdoms of the earth, what happened? We're going to get there. But read that. It says what? And it is desolate.
Strangers devoured in your presence.
Right.
And it is desolate.
Right.
As overthrown by strangers.
Right. As overthrown by strangers. So the Most High fulfilled the prophecy. Y'all get this? That the Gentiles would trodden us down. Go to before I get into the 40 and 2 months, and y'all know we were trodden down. That's an easy one for you.
I got a question,
Yeah.
In reference to verse 7,
Yeah.
what part of verse 2 of chapter 11 Revelations does that relate to? Or that was just...
Wait. Verse what?
Revelations 11 and 2, where we left off on.
Right.
Then we went to Isaiah 1 and 7.
Isaiah 1 and 7, that's talking about, read 2 again. Revelations 11 and 2.
Oh, God. But the court which is without the temple leave out,
right,
and measure it not.
Right.
For
so we know the court is the nations.
Right.
Go ahead.
For it is given unto the Gentiles.
Right. Go ahead.
And the holy city shall they tread under foot.
There you go. You see that?
They tread. Okay, gotcha.
Right. Isaiah 1 and 7 shows that the holy city, the Gentiles would tread underfoot.
Come.
Right. Right. Now let's go into. Read on. It's going to tell us.
Revelations?
Yeah.
Come.
Go ahead.
And I will give power.
No. They shall tread under the foot.
Oh, sorry.
Tread
under the foot 42 months.
So 42 months, when you break that down, it's 3.5 years. Which is symbolic for the 350 years that we were going to be in captivity and slavery. Now you get this number mathematically, not only here. Let's go to Daniel's 7 verse 25. Just to show you that this number, this 3.5 years, or 42 months, it always came down to the 350 years that we were going to be in the slavery, in captivity. Right? Now, we know, remember, John the Revelator is given this vision, but this is something that was going to happen after 70 AD, right? And then the Most High was going to come and start waking us up after that. It's going to all come together. But read that, Daniel 7:25.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 25.
Go ahead.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
Right. Now, even if you know Daniel's, he went over Daniel's the 7th chapter. This he is talking about the Greco-Roman Empire, right? All the way down to Alexander the Great, right? Down to Antiochus Epiphanes, right? The little horn, okay? All the way up to where? America. These are all Edomites. He shall speak great words against the Most High. Go ahead.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High. When did that start? That started when Esau came into power and rule. They have masterminded the way to wear the saints of the Most High out. He didn't just put you in captivity. He let the chains go and captive your mind. Right? So, this is talking about Esau because he is the latter empire. There's no other empire that's going to come into play and try to, overthrow Esau but Yahushua. So this is the last kingdom on earth that will gain, the last nation on earth that will gain power in this, what's the word? There's it's a word I'm looking for. To this validity. There's no other nation that will gain power outside of the white man. Yeah.
I always wondered that to myself. Like, will there be another Columbus? Will there be another United States after this? No,
there ain't gonna be no AI awakening and the robots take over and then Yahushua gotta come and fight the robots. He's gonna come and fight the devil. Right? That's it. Yeah.
It's like you said, a lot of people think that the Moabites are going to take over.
Yeah, the Chinese are going to take over.
They already had their time.
Yeah, they already had their time. And that's what you see in Daniel's 7th chapter. All the nations had their time to come into power, to rule, to either follow the laws or not. And no nations did. So it always came up, the end. Esau is the end of the world. See, Esau is the inner one, so it's their time. Let's talk about Esau. Go ahead.
And think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand.
Right.
Until a time and times, and the dividing of time.
So this is when you go back to Revelations 11, and it talks about the 40 and 2 months. Remember, 40 and 2 months brings down to 3.5 years. Those 3.5 years going right back to what Daniel is saying, the 350 years. This 350 years was from 1620 to 1970. Saying, you're going to see this. We're going to go to another scripture to show you. This concept, a time represents 100 years, times represents 200 years, and dividing the times represents 50 years. How do you know that, Kazaki? Because we're going to go read it again in Daniel's. A time in Daniel 7:25 represents 100 years. Times with the S represented 200 years. Dividing a time represented 50 years. You would ask, well, how do you know it ain't saying that there? Well, as we're linking up Revelations, the 11th chapter, Daniel's, we're going to jump over to the 12th chapter. You see that it all was symbolic. All that time period goes back to the 350 years of slavery we served. Y'all got that? Which was from 1620 being the official start of the slave trade. And I say official because, some 1618, they started getting everything and putting us in captivity. But the official was 1620. And then when did we start being freed from that?
1865.
1970. The official.
Yeah, because
when the knowledge, when the awakening started happening. 350 years. Right? We started waking up. When we go back to Revelations, y'all got to see why he gave us this time period. You're going to see how we know, according to the scriptures, that they had their time to rule. Y'all see that? Okay, go ahead. So y'all got Daniel's, right? 7 and 25. It's correlating with Revelations 11 and 2 because it's talking about the 350 years that the nations had power to trodden us down. All right? They were going to overcome us, put us in captivity and slavery. I know I'm jumping a little bit, but that's what it's going to go back to when we go into Revelations. Before we do that, let's add another scripture to this 40 and 2 months. We went to Daniel 7:25. We're going to Daniel's 12 and verse 7. Read that. Daniel's
12 and verse 7.
Daniel's 12 and 7.
Come.
Go ahead.
Daniel chapter 12 verse 7. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven. He sware by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times, and a half, and when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power.
Stop. Y'all listening? So how do we know that it was 1620? When he showed what?
Scatter the power of the holy people.
See, listen. When did we get scattered? When was all that done with? You understand? You got to ask yourself. Yeah, we've been scattered. I mean, if you want to technically point out the scattering, I mean, the Syrian Empire, the Babylonian Empire, Persian and Median Empire. But when was the conclusion of that? When was this stuff going to end? It was going to end during our period. Right? Us being scattered through all nations, not knowing our nationality, not knowing our identity, not knowing who we were. That was during our time of captivity and slavery. Right? I mean, y'all understand that historically. We're at Revelations, the 11th chapter. We're breaking down Revelations 11, but right now we're at Daniel's 12 and 7. And we're going over in Revelations 11 and 2 about the 40 and 2 months. The 40 and 2 months, this was symbolic of 3.5, or when you break that down, it's 3.5 years, which was symbolic to the 350 years. So we went to Daniel 7:25 and Daniel's 12 and 7 to show that this 350 years was an accomplishment of us being punished and scattered through the world. Okay? 1620 being the official start of the slave trade. Right? 1970 is when we start to awaken. We started to wake up. The truth started to be taught. Alright? So, read on in there. Read 12 and 7 again.
Come. And I heard the man clothed in linen,
Alright?
which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half.
Right. Times and a half. Go ahead.
And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished.
So, now we're understanding that this time period was going to lead us up to being scattered through all nations of the earth. Right? Going back to Deuteronomy, the prophecy. I will scatter you among all nations of the earth. You would be punished. You would serve gods that you haven't known of wood and stone. Y'all got that?
Come.
Okay, so that's what the 40 and 2 months, which the 40 and 2 months breaks down to 3.5 years, which is symbolic of the 350 years. Right. All right, so let's go back to Revelations. I'm in class. All right, Shalom. So go there and go back to Revelations 11 and 2.
God, Revelation chapter 11, verse 2.
Uh-huh.
The court which is without the temple.
So what is the court that is without the temple? Who is that?
The Gentiles.
The Gentiles, because it says it, right? It's easy. Go ahead.
Leave out and measure it not.
Right.
For it is given unto the Gentiles.
Right, because this measuring stick that he was going to measure us by was the law. And Israel didn't keep to the laws. So you were going to see historically certain things happen. Certain things was going to happen because we didn't measure up to the laws. But what happened? Read.
And the holy city shall they tread underfoot.
Right.
40 and 2 months.
Right. Read.
And I will give power unto witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,200 threescore days.
Huh? 1,200 threescore days? Did you read that correctly?
Yeah. 1,203 score days.
1,203 score days. You said one.
Oh, slap.
Yeah, 1,203 score days. So Israel, when they had us in captivity, all right, now let's jump it back. Who were the two witnesses? Right? Who were the two witnesses? Who's the Most High's witnesses? No, it's Israel. Go to Isaiah 43 and 1, and then you're going to jump down to verse 10. So I want you to read 3 again so we can kind of understand what is being said here. Go ahead.
And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses.
Right.
And they shall prophesy 1,002 score days.
Right. Now, the Most High gave the power to the Israelites, Judah and Israel, to teach. That's all it's saying. Y'all get that?
Come.
Go ahead.
God, clothed in sackcloth.
Right. Clothed in what?
Clothed in sackcloth.
Right. What are we prophesying in right now? This is not our land. We're clothed in mourning. when you can't serve your Sabbath day, you're in sackcloth. When you can't serve your high holy day because you got to go to work, and you got to be at work the next day. When you can't get your knowledge and learn your nationality because you got to be at work all the time, that's a crying that your spirit is crying out to the Most High. We're not free. We're doing everything clothed in sackcloth. And that's what sackcloth represents. It just means that pain, suffering, mourning. Y'all get that? Go ahead.
Verse 4.
All right, so read Isaiah 43, verse 1, and then verse 10. This goes proving who are the witnesses of the Most High. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 43, verse 1.
Go ahead.
But now, thus saith the Most High, that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name.
Right. Go ahead.
Thou art mine.
Thou art mine. Jump to verse 10.
Verse 10. Ye are my witnesses.
Who? Judah and Israel. Y'all get that? So, the witnesses of the Most High that was going to prophesy in sackcloth was Israel. But we know the prophets of the nation. Y'all get that? Okay, so that was easy.
Yeah.
Jump back to Revelations. Revelations 11 and 4. So remember, you see this chapter, Revelations, is jumping. You know, while we're in captivity, we're still prophesying. We're still hurting, but we're still teaching. While they were in the Syrian, Babylonian, Persian and Medes captivity, what were they doing? They were still prophesying. You had prophets all through all the nations. Just like you have it here now in America. We're prophesying with hurt, pain, and suffering. Okay. So, Revelations 11 and 4. Go ahead.
These are the two olive trees,
right,
and the two candlesticks standing before the God of the earth.
Right. Now, once again, if you didn't know that this was Israel, he's giving you another name for them. So go to Zechariah 4 and 11. Let's show that the olive trees represented Israel. Once again, the candlesticks represented Israel. Once again, y'all get that? This is all the Most High, how he looks at us. Right? The olive tree. Why does he use the olive tree? Anybody? Before we get him? Why does he use the olive tree? What is the olive tree for? There it is. The anointing oil. Right? So that's symbolic for the anointed. We're going to read that. Read that
Zechariah
4 and 11.
Zechariah chapter 4 verse 11.
Go ahead.
Then answered I and said unto him, what are these two olive trees up on the right side of the candlestick and up on the left side thereof?
Right. So you're in Zechariah where?
4 and 11.
And then you're going to jump to verse 14.
Come.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. Then said he, these are the two anointed ones that stand by the Most High of the whole earth.
Right. These are the two anointed ones. Judah and Israel. You know what's cold is when I looked that up in Hebrew, you know what it says? Sons of the oil. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's cold. Like when you look up Zechariah in the Hebrew, it says, in the Hebrew, sons of the oil. So now, you, because it doesn't say anointed, it says oil. Yeah, in the Hebrew. So who are the sons of the oil?
We are.
Israel.
Come.
You're the sons of the anointed. Y'all get that? So that's why he refers to the olive tree. The olive tree, he uses that oil to anoint Israel. What?
I was going to ask again, what is sackcloth?
Sackcloth represented mourning.
Mourning.
Right. Any way you look at the sackcloth, you look at when it says they wore sackcloth, they were in a mourning state. All right. That's why you see some brothers will wear the sackcloth because they're in mourning state.
Okay.
All right. So we're back. Go from there. Go to Isaiah 5 and 7. Isaiah 5 and 7.
Come. Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 7.
And what we're doing, we're proving in Revelations 11 and 4, the olive tree represented the sons of the anointed, which were Israel. All right? Judah and Israel. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 5 verse 7.
Go ahead.
For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel.
There you go. The vineyard of the Lord is the house of Israel. So remember, man, the Bible's cold. The Bible is cold. Revelations was meant to be in code. It wasn't going to last. This Bible, you hear me say this a lot, would have not lasted in the white man's hands if he didn't think he had a chance. The slave masters had this Bible in their hands. And they used it against us, right? But why didn't it burn it up? Because it was written in code. He wasn't just going to say, yeah, Christ was a Negro. First of all, they didn't talk like that back then. One. Two, if he had said that and then the little folk from over here in Europe got it, and he said, wait a minute, but I got the niggas in slavery. What did that did to this Bible? Burnt it up. So what did he put it in code in? Jeremiah 8:21. For the hurt of the daughter of people are my hurt, right? He said, I am black. Astonishment hath taken hold on me. Job 30:30. I am black. Songs of Solomon 1 and 5. I am black. He's not just going to put, he is a black man. He had to put it in code. The Bible would not have last. Yeah, you understand that?
Done.
It wouldn't last, so it had to be written this way. Revelations had to be written this way, that we were the chosen. Look, you got scriptures that says, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So he had to come back, and scriptures had to be put in a way to where, if that was it, we wouldn't have lasted. So it lasted this long because the Most High used the prophets and wisdom to preserve this knowledge. That's why when you go back to Revelations, he said, not Revelations, Daniel's, he said, shut up the understanding of the book unto a certain time.
Man, that's cold.
Yeah, and that's why everybody was reading this book. He said, take it to him, take it to him. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that says. But what happened when the Most High sent Elijah again during our time? Out of nowhere, deep in the 70s, I don't know, in the depths of the rocks, in the depths of slavery, coming from the 60s, the 50s, and the 20s and 30s, or whatever, somebody was like, no, we the Hebrew Israelites. Who's we? These people. And it reached all the way up to the year almost 20. The Most High did that. You understand that?
Come.
So, where are we at? Isaiah 5 and 7?
Come.
Well, you read that, right?
I didn't read it all.
Read it all.
Isaiah chapter 5 verse 7. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel.
Right.
And the men of Judah his pleasant plant.
Right. So,
And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression.
Right.
For righteousness, but behold a cry.
Right. So, we went there to prove that the olive tree was Israel and Judah. The Most High refers to them. We went to Zechariah 4 and 11 and verse 14 to prove Israel and Judah was the olive tree. So these two olive trees standing before him is Israel. Okay? And they were sent out, the priests out of them, the prophets out of them were sent out to preach to the nations, to the world in sackcloth, right? One more scripture to add. Go to Romans 11 and 1. Let's further prove that the olive tree is Israel. Judah and Israel, the two.
God.
Go ahead.
Romans chapter 11, verse 1.
I
say then, hath the Most High cast away his people?
Go ahead.
Most High forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham.
Right.
Of the tribe of Benjamin.
Right. So, jump down to verse 11. Go ahead.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall?
Go ahead.
Most High forbid. But rather, through their fall, salvation is coming to the Gentiles. For to provoke them to jealousy.
Right. So now we understand we're talking about Israel. Okay. Now jump to verse 24.
Verse 24. For if thou wert cut off of the olive tree, which is wild by nature.
Right. So, if he's talking to the nation, he's talking to Esau, if they were cut out of the olive tree, right, or part of this olive tree, excuse me, that was contrary. They were contrary. Who is the olive tree? Israel. I don't want to go over the whole chapter. You know what I mean? But all he's doing here is referring to Israel as the olive tree. He's referring to these Gentiles coming in as part of it. Okay? And they were contrary to it. Alright? Because then we have to go over the whole chapter in that. But the point here is to show the symbolism of the olive tree. Who is he talking about? Israelites. Y'all get that? Okay. So read verse 24. Go ahead.
For thou wert cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature.
Right. Them. Go ahead.
And were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree.
Into a what?
Good olive tree.
You see that? Go ahead.
How much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree?
So you see the symbolism of olive tree. He wasn't talking about a tree, y'all. I mean, just to get it straight. He was talking about a people, a nation. He was talking about Israelites. Y'all got that? Okay. All right. Go ahead. Jump back to Revelations 11 and 4. What time will we have? Okay. Go ahead. Read that.
These are the two olive trees.
Right. So these are the what?
Two olive trees.
Right.
And the two candlesticks standing before the God of the earth.
Right. So the two candlesticks represented, once again, Israel. These are just symbolic ways to talking to the chosen, to let them know that these prophecies are to you. That's all it is. That's why when you go to Genesis, the same thing. You're not going to understand Genesis until you understand that the prophecy of the scriptures is written through symbolism. Y'all get that? Symbolic meanings. Right? Parables. Right? You see that all the time. Christ spoke in those ways. Right? So the candlesticks represent Israel. And you got the scripture where he says, "Ye are the light of the world." Right? Nobody take his candle and put it under the table. Right. Exactly. Well, how is it? Under a bushel? Right. Right. So you are the candlesticks. You are the olive trees. All right. So read on.
Verse 5. And if any man will hurt them,
right,
fire proceeded out of their mouth and devoured their enemies.
Right. Meaning that the Most High, even in our captivities, gave us power. The Most High gave us power. And we don't know when it's coming. We don't know who it's coming to. Well, you don't want to start that mess. I mean, it's going to come to our school. No, it's going to come to our school. We don't know who is coming, but the Most High is going to give that power like it was given back in the ancient days. Go to Numbers 16, verse 28. So read that again in 11 and 5.
And if any man will hurt them, fire proceeded out of their mouth and devoured their enemies.
Right. So before you go to number 16, go to Jeremiah 5 and 14. Go to Jeremiah 5 and 14. Just to show you what fire. First of all, it wasn't guns, wasn't missiles. You don't got to take a gun to camp. You don't got to go out there with bats. You don't got to do all that. Read that.
Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 14.
Go ahead.
Wherefore thus saith the Lord of God, wherefore thus saith the Lord God of hosts,
Go ahead.
because ye speak his word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire.
I will do what?
I will make thy words in thy mouth fire.
And this is what the Most High is saying. We don't, when we go out there and we go teach the word of the Most High, our power is in the word. You know why you have to get in fights and arguments and beat people with staffs? Sorry, I have to do it. It's because you step out of the spirit. Raise your hand if you can find me when Yahushua was teaching who he had to hit with a staff in the forehead. He's like, let me see. Who did Yahushua had to shoot when he was out teaching? Did Yahushua shoot when he was out teaching? And don't talk about when he went in the temple and he whooped everybody over.
Yeah, that's all right.
That was a whole different instance. I'm talking about when he was teaching. He was like, this nigga's tripping, whoop his ass. Who? No. Our power is in the word. If you stay in the spirit, no weapon that is formed against you will prosper. You understand? Most people ain't trying to fight with you anyway. You got 30 black, bearded, buff. And you know, when four of us get together, they swear it's 30 of us. You know what I mean?
God.
I remember a story that with the generals, Bashaba, it was Ariala, it was Zion, it was Zionala, it maybe another one or two brothers with them. He said they walk into this club. It was only about 4 or 5 of them. People thought everybody was 7 feet. Now, Kabakab is not 7 feet. This brother is not that tall. Ariala wasn't 7 feet. Maybe Mashaba got some heights and Ariala he's about 6 feet. But everybody went like 7 feet tall. When they see 4 of them, they swear there was 13 brothers at 7 feet tall. Because the power that Israel rolls with. You don't need to be fighting nobody out there in the street, and you wouldn't have to if you're sticking in the spirit. Yahushua didn't fight nobody. So before you come and attack me and be like, well, Kazaki, the streets are real. First of all, I grew up in New York. I taught New York. I taught in almost every barrio. I taught in Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan. We've taught everywhere. So I know I'm out here in this boring ass Houston, and when we street speak, there ain't no action out here. But that's just the way it is in Houston. Trust me. If you can count on your hand, go look at the elders. Go on Daily Motion and look at the old videos of the old elders. Show me. Send me the videos of how many elders got to fight with and was knocking niggas out. Alright? Now, maybe before video they was doing that, because I heard the stories. But even then they had to change it up to be professional. They weren't knocking Esau out. They weren't doing that. You know what I mean? They weren't trying to live that because they knew the power was in the word. And you would see them breaking people down through the word. I've seen it happen many a times. You could change this fighter, this Edomite that's buff and hard. You break him down with the word. That was the fire that came out of your mouth. Y'all get this?
Come.
So there's no reason for you to take guns out to camp. You understand? There's no reason. You take knives out to camp, you're going to get yourself stabbed. Alright? Read it again.
Come. Wherefore, thus said the Lord God of hosts, because ye speak this word,
right?
Behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire.
Read.
And this people wood.
Right.
And it shall devour them.
Right. And that's what the Most High did to the priests, to the prophets, to Israel. He gave us the power, the word to destroy. All right. Jump to verse 20 and 9. Jeremiah 20 and 9.
Come.
And if we don't finish the chapter, I'll come back and finish it up next Sabbath. All right, we'll do a second part finishing it. Because you want to get these scriptures that link with it. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 9.
Go ahead.
Then I said, I will not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name.
Go ahead.
But his word was in mine heart, as a burning fire shut up in my bones. And I was weary with forbearing, and I could not stay.
Why? Because that word was in you as a fire. And when you spoke, you were destroying and controlling spirits around you, casting out demons. Y'all get that?
Time.
Now, yeah, the prophets back in the days, jump over to number 16:28, they had power to do this. But I still say, show me where Elijah had to whip somebody's ass. Kung fu somebody. Huh? With his staff. No, man, he fought with the power of the Most High. Y'all see that? There's an example, man. The example's in the scriptures. We got to stop trying to act like, oh no, it's different. Bro, the prophets were getting killed back then. Right? If it be the Lord's will, you ain't going to stop that anyway. You understand that? Well, show your garment and buy a sword. What happened when Peter pulled his sword up? What Yahweh shall I say? You live by the sword, you die by the sword. So you can't pull that one either. Because he did. He's the one that told him to get the sword, right? But if he say, yeah, chop everybody up, everybody that get out of order, everybody that get out of line? No. So y'all got to read the scriptures. It's going to make it easy on your mind. And you don't have to go out strapped. You don't have to go out fearing. There's no neighborhood that I've been through in America that I'm scared of. I don't care, nigga, you a killer. If the Lord be willing, you might just take my life. Thank you, Yahweh. But all the fake thugs, like over there when we was in Baton Rouge, and they was like, we gonna go over there and shoot them. I was like, okay, like, please free me up. Send me to Yahweh. Like, I didn't get scared, and we didn't have 30 brothers. We had only 4 or 5 brothers. They were just angry. You know what I mean? When the Most High wants the bullets to fly, they will fly. When He doesn't, they don't. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? I look at it like that. Do I protect myself? Do I know how to protect myself? Yes. But at the same time, when you're in the spirit, who's going to be there for you? Yahweh. Y'all get that? So, and I've been through Compton, Watts, South Central, Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. We used to teach in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Just all those places now, but not the gentrified Brooklyn. Not where they're going to teach now and it's majority white folks. No, I'm talking about where they shooting Brooklyn, where you used to get robbed Brooklyn. You know what I mean? That Brooklyn, the old Brooklyn. You know, so and guess what? We didn't carry guns and banish guns out there. I remember one fair we went to, man. It was like 13 of us brothers, man. They were shooting in the fair. All the brothers did, everyone dropped to their knees out and created a circle out. That was it. You know what I mean? Brothers didn't pull out guns like, nah, man, we're the priests of the Most High. We don't need that. You understand that? We didn't need to do that. And when it's time for that, the Spirit is going to reveal it. Man, I don't care if they do got guns or not. You'll make your way out of there if it's the Spirit of the Lord. It's on you. Y'all get that? All right. Read where you at.
Numbers chapter 16 and verse 28.
Go ahead.
And Moses said, hereby shall ye know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works. For I have not done them of my own mind.
Go ahead.
If these men die the common death of all men,
right,
and if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord hath not sent me.
Right.
But if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up,
right,
with all that apparent.
Somebody help him while I'm there.
Appertain unto them.
Right.
And they go down quick into the pit. Then shall they understand that these men have provoked the Lord.
Right. So, did Moses, with his military staff, was Moses a warrior?
God.
Did Moses know how to handle himself?
God.
Did he go into battle and probably slay men?
God.
But what is he doing here? He's standing by the Most High. He's like, listen, if these cats is out of order, if they're not with the Most High, if we're not with the Most High, all of it's going to be rectified, right? You're going to see this. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words,
right,
that the ground caved asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah,
right,
and all their goods.
Right. So y'all see this, right? This is when it said in Revelations that the prophet, what did it say? Read that last verse. Come on, somebody jump over to Revelations.
Revelations chapter 11 verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
And if any man will hurt them, fire proceeded out of their mouth,
right,
and devoured their enemy. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed.
Right. So go to 2 Kings 1 and 10 down to verse 12. Just showing you the power that was given to the prophets. Okay? Even though we were in sackcloth, even though we were in mourning, even though the nations were over us, we still had power. And the power was in the Word. That's what we're finding out. The power was in the Word. Go ahead.
2 Kings. 2 Kings, chapter 1, verse 12.
1 and 10.
Come on. Verse 10. And Elijah answered and said to the captain of the 50.
Right.
If I be a man of God, then let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And there came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50.
Right. So, y'all see that the prophecy of what he was saying is in Revelation that the Most High gave the prophets this power. Y'all get that? To protect themselves, to anybody that came up against them or hurt them or harmed them. The Most High gave us that power too. But you got to be in the spirit. You can't be doing wickedness thinking like the Most High is with you. You can set up your prayers on the street all you want, but if you ain't speaking the word and being what the Most High wants you to be, it ain't going to matter. We got to be doing the right thing. You want to pray, Israel always want to pray against somebody wicked, but be wicked. It don't work like that. The Most High is going to protect the righteous. Y'all get that? Just like he did Elijah, Elisha, Moses, right? Go to 1 Kings 19 and 32. Just showing you that what John the Revelator has spoke of, it happened in the past, it's going to happen in the future also. It happened with the prophets in the past, and it's going to happen now. Right now, when we pray, you got all these Israelites praying that the Most High come, right? That He makes the time short, that we root up, break down, and destroy this kingdom. We're all praying that. And what's happening throughout the world? The Most High is doing His works. Y'all get that? But a lot of times you be praying hurt, pain on somebody out that needs mercy. That's why you don't got that power, because you don't know that person needed mercy, needed prayer, but you put in punishment on them. See, go ahead, read that.
2 Kings chapter 19 verse 32.
Go ahead.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into this city.
Right, so the king of the Syrian was running his mouth. The king of the Syria was telling Israel, basically, you're going to bow. You're going to bow or you're going to be destroyed. Right? So, you know what? Who is this? Elisha? Elijah? You know what Elijah did? He put his trust in his sword. He put his trust in his weapon, his staff. No, he put his trust in the Most High. And look at what the Most High said. Read that.
Nor shoot an arrow there.
He said, listen, the king ain't going to shoot an arrow. You ain't even going to get an arrow off. You understand the power of being in the spirit? Brothers, why is this happening to me? Because you're doing wickedness, Ak. Like, thine own wickedness will correct you. Yeah, like, why is it so? Bro, when I'm getting my butt whooped by the Most High, I'm not asking, why is this happening to me? I'm doing something off. And I need to be, instead of why is this happening to me and crying like I'm just before the Most High, I need to come back and say, man, I need to examine why the Most High is constantly punishing me, checking me. I always say it. Is it for trials and tribulation? Or am I bringing this on myself? It's only two things. You catching it for Christ, or you bringing it upon yourself. And guess what? A lot of you is not catching it for Christ. Your ass don't get off your couch. You give a flyer and think I'm sacrificing for Christ. Nigga, you're being comfortable. I'm sacrificing for Christ. Why He won't just give me what I want? You're not sacrificing for Christ, bro. Stop psyching yourself out and trying to act like you're doing something, like you're going out and resisting against blood for Yahweh. They put you up on the cross like, Yahweh, why hast thou forsaken me? Nigga, you at work. Sorry, there I go again with my New York shenanigans. Let me calm it down. No, but seriously, we got to see, man, that the Most High will fight for you if you're right. Your prayers will be answered if you are right. But you got to be right. You got to be pleasing to the Most High. If a man's ways please the Most High, He will do what? He will make even your enemies be at peace with you. You understand? So why is it that out of the 25, 30 years I've been in the truth, right? I got one disgruntled Edomite try to hit me with a bike. One. Because my skill level wasn't up to par in dealing with him. And did he hit me? No. A brother jumped fly, kicked the bike out of the way. You know what I mean? He kicked the bike out of the way. And that was back in Colorado. I ain't never got shot at. I got things thrown at me. They used to throw like pennies from across the street at us, spit on us from the top of the building, which is reasonable, right? Reasonable sacrifice. But have I ever got shot or stabbed at the street speaking, or beat up, or jumped, or even socked in the face? No. All praise to the Most High. And I'm not saying I'm righteous or holier than thou. What I'm saying is that when you stick to the spirit, you don't have to worry about those things. Y'all get that? If you step out of the spirit and start getting personal with people, then it's going to be personal. But when it's the word ripping into them, they can't do nothing about it. The Most High says, the Lord said, this is what Christ is doing to you. They can't say nothing. But when you be like, nigga, you a faggot, they're going to be like, who, me? Yeah, you. Stop being a faggot. Now you're getting personal. There's no need for that. Y'all get this? All right. We'll read on.
Nor come before it with shield.
Go ahead.
Nor cast a bank against it.
He said, listen, you ain't going to shoot an arrow. You ain't going to come up and jump out with a shield. You ain't going to do none of that. Go ahead.
Nor cast a bank against it.
No, you ain't going to set up a garrison, a moat, dig a ditch in front of us, nothing. This is the Most High finna clown this cat. Go ahead.
By the way that he came, by the same shall he return.
Go ahead.
And he shall not come into this city.
Go ahead.
Said the Lord.
Read.
For I will defend this city to save it.
Read.
For mine own sake.
Read.
And for my servant David's sake.
Ooh. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that night that the angel of the Most High went out.
He sent one angel. Listen to this, y'all. He sent one angel. Go ahead.
And smote in the camp of the Assyrians 180,5,000.
One angel came from the fourth dimension, came down and killed 185,000 people. You know when we talk about the angels coming in, moving like Flash? This angel killed 185,000 people. One angel. That reminded. The most, you don't have to. That's what he said. They prayed. They spit the word. They asked the Most High. You don't have to do none of that. You know what I mean? If you're right, the Most High will stand. He'll have Edomites stand in front of you and take the bullet. You understand that? So, all right, y'all get that? That according to Revelations 1 and 5, when it says, excuse me, not 1 and 5, Revelations 11 and 5, read that. If any man will hurt them, fire proceeded out of their mouth and devoured their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Read verse 6.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God.
Revelations 11 and 6.
Oh, slap.
Revelations 11 verse 6. Go ahead.
These have power to shut up heaven.
They have what?
Power to shut up heaven.
Listen, we don't know who it is going to be. But the Most High is going to give those righteous priests, prophets, leaders power to shut up heaven. It sure ain't Benny Hinn. It sure ain't damn Joel Osteen. It sure ain't Creflo Dollar. It ain't them. They ain't throwing all you cans to people in the crowd and healing them. Authorities and you're healed. You're healed. They're not doing that. That power is going to be given to the true priests and prophets. There ain't no Israelites doing that yet either. And I don't see none trying to proclaim that either. So that's the difference. So, but that power is going to be given. Go ahead.
That it reign not in the days of their prophecy.
Right. Now, there it is. Most High is like, Yahweh, our prayers are the power that is going out, right? We got to face the east. Ain't nobody calling fire from heaven. Go ahead.
And have power over waters. To turn them to blood.
Go ahead.
And to smite the earth with all plagues.
Right.
As often as they will.
Go ahead.
And when they shall have finished their testimony.
Go ahead.
The beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make a war against them.
Right. So the beast, if you're not familiar with Revelations, the beast is talking about the so-called white man, the Edomite nation. I don't care what regime or title you want to put on them. You want to put on Greeks? Fine. You want to put on the Spanish? Fine. You want to put on the Romans? Fine. They're all, to us, they're all what? Edomites. You understand that? When they came out of the bottomless pit, which was Europe, during 1453, they were re-emerged as the Ottoman and Turk Empire. They were Edomites. They disguised themselves as the Ottoman Turk, but we know they were the Edomites. Y'all get that? Okay, it says, so the beast, go to Revelations 13:1. Let's show who the beast is. That the beast is, when he's seeing this, remember, it's a symbolism. He's seeing a nation come up. Okay? So read that, Revelations. Revelations 13:1. Read that.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea.
That beast that rose up out of the sea was a nation. Go ahead.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Right, so the 7 heads represent rulers. So 7 rulers that they were ruled by. The Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, the Germans, the Russians, and the British. Those are the 7 heads of this nation. And out of Britain came who? America. So the 7 heads were the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, the Germans, the Russians, and the British. Okay? These are the 7 empires that came forth and brought forth this little beast right here, America. Okay? 7 heads. Okay, like you would say, head of the class, 7 leaders. Okay, go ahead.
God, and upon his horn 10 crowns.
Right, 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, and I know y'all touched on this a little bit, but the 10 horns represent, a horn represents power. So the 10 powers were the 10 powers that were going to help the heads. And when you look at the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, the Germans, the Russians, Britain, and all these kingdoms that had power, that are all Esau, they had power and rule. All the other 10 horns have helped the 7 heads. Y'all got that?
Come.
Okay. Today they call them the European Community, the EC or the EEC, European Economic Community. But these are all nations that help out, where? The beast. And how do they help the beast? Military, monetary, or resourcefully. Right? So, let's say if America wants to go to war with Iran. Okay, who's down to ride with me? So they go to the EU. They gave it different names. Or the EEC, the EU, right? The United Nations, right? And say, okay, we're going to go to war with Iran. China says, I'm not going. Ishmael, the Arabs, I'm not going. Then they say, well, okay, if you don't help us out here, we going to do sanctions on you.
Yeah.
We going to stop doing this with you.
Yeah.
We going to stop imports and exports. Or, you know what, okay, we got our eye. You ain't helping us out. We gonna create a war, a stealth war, behind your back and overthrow your nation. Mm-hmm. That's why all these nations help out America. Because they're either bullied, right? They have to give in some way to the beast. So that's what these horns were going to do. We'll get into that when we go over the Revelations 13 breakdown. Go ahead.
And upon his And upon his head the name of blasphemy.
Right. It says, and upon his horns 10 crowns. Because these 10 horns were kings also. But they're not the beast. You got these other nations, they're kings, so-called princes. But really, do they got American power? American muscle? No. The beast has that. Okay. And upon his head is the name of what?
Of blasphemy.
And of blasphemy. Why? Because what did America have all nations do? Blasphemy. What image is going through all nations? Caesar Borgia. That image that Christ is this image made like unto a corruptible man. Right? And they got Chinese believing that, Africans believing that. You know what I mean? They got all these nations believing that. It's barely now to break tradition to have a dark-skinned image of Christ. Somebody that's a rebel, they try to have a dark-skinned image of the apostles. But that's just recent. How many hundreds of years later? Because the beast promoted its lies through all the nations and blasphemy. Okay? Now, we're not going into Revelation 13, but we're just going to jump down to verse 19 to show that the beast is not talking about an actual animal. It's a nation. Go ahead.
Verse 18.
Go ahead.
Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast.
Go ahead.
For it is the number of a man.
The beast is a what?
A number of a man.
The beast is a what?
A number of a man.
The beast is a man. That's why they call him the beast. Remember that movie? You said the beast is coming.
Oh yeah.
Right? That's America. Right? Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the beast. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the police. Y'all remember that old school one right there? Y'all actually do?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's the beast. Right? You know, when he comes in, he's not going to act right. Right? He's going to what? Turn your daughters into lesbians. He's going to tell your boys to be trannies. Right? He's going to come in. I seen this on World Star the other day. The white dude was on the stretcher in the hospital, and the cop just came over and just pow, 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 pow. Y'all see that one? I was like, wow, a cruel man. And that's his own people. You understand? So that's why it says, well, they help. Look at them. They're getting cats out the trees and they're helping our communities. The Most High said the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. They ain't helping no damn body. Even it says, even when they do good, they do evil. That one's cold. We gotta find out.
It is.
It says, even when they do good, they do evil. Yeah, it says the soul in them is not upright. Why? He is like a beast. What does the beast do? I want to eat anything. I want to put anything in me. Right? I want to sleep with anything. That's a beast. Y'all get that? And his number, and the number of him is what?
606. His number is 606.
Right, 666. It's a number of a man. So going back to Revelations 11 and 7. Let's jump back.
Come on. Revelation chapter 11, verse.
It's supposed to be somebody else's turn.
Yeah, fine. Go ahead. Jump up. And then you give me Genesis 25:25. Go ahead.
It's verse 8, Con.
Go ahead.
And their dead bodies shall not.
No. Jump to verse 7 because we're reiterating who the beast is. Go ahead.
And when they shall have finished their testimony,
right?
The beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit.
Because he's telling you where he's come from. He comes from Europe. This is they call Europe the bottomless pit because there's no natural resources in Europe. That's why he calls him the beast coming from the bottomless pit. Okay? Go ahead.
Con.
Right, so I'm sorry. So we know according to Revelations 13 and 1 and 18 that the beast was a nation But it was a man, right?
Con.
These are menses, not just one man. It's a nation. Y'all get this?
Con.
Go to Genesis 25:25.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 25.
Go ahead.
And the first came out red all over like in hairy garment.
Right.
And they called his name Esau.
And they called his name what?
Esau.
Right. Esau in Hebrew, Aisha or Aishashah, is wasted away is he. So when he seen his son, he seen that he was the anomaly. He said he's wasted away. Where's his skin pigment? Esau. Go ahead.
Con. Verse 26.
Uh-huh.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel.
Right. So that's who it's talking about. It's talking about the so-called white man, the Edomite nation, the beasts. If you don't think they're beasts, just go look at their records. Who is raped, robbed, murdered, stolen, pillaged, lied, confused, still lies, still does all these things. What nation has done this? Now you're saying, well, there's many nations. No. When you say Greek Caucasian, Spanish Caucasian, Roman Caucasian, right? They're all Caucasian. They're not, there's no such thing as like the Spanish Caucasian is different from the white man in America. Same, like think about it. The white man that came from Europe, who is he? He's the white man that landed here in America, right?
Con.
Just because he speaks different, he's the same guy that came from Europe. They just have a different dialect, right? The white man in England, is he English? And the white man over here, they're the same white man. You understand? He's from England. No, he's from the Caucasus Mountains. Y'all get it? Okay. So it's talking about the same individual. Go back to Revelation 7, and we're going to end it on that. And then we'll come back and finish it up the rest of next Sabbath, because it's going to go over. Go ahead.
Read it all over.
Yeah.
Verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony,
right,
the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit,
yeah,
shall make war against them.
Right. And you're saying, well, when did he make war against us? He's ever since been making war with us. Ever since the white man has gained power from slavery to captivity to all the way now in the year in the Back to the Future, he's still making war with us. It hasn't stopped. Go ahead.
It shall overcome them.
It shall what?
It shall overcome them.
Right.
And kill them.
Right. So y'all got that? So the beast has overcome us, has destroyed us, has brought us low, right? And we know because the Most High is giving the power to the beast right now. Y'all get this? Okay, did anybody have any questions on that so far? I know if y'all didn't get it, it's recorded. We're going to put this one up here, and then we're going to finish up the second part, finishing the chapter, next time we get the opportunity. So this is Revelations, the 11th chapter, part 1, and we ended at the 7th verse. We're going to come back with part 2 and finish up the chapter.